Welcome to Southeastern 16, presented by FanDuel. Today we are previewing Alabama's trip to Norman, Oklahoma for a first-round playoff game. That will be Friday, December 19th in Norman. I believe we are looking at a 7 Central kickoff on either ABC or ESPN. Pick your choice there. FanDuel has Alabama by about 1.5 as we're doing this the Monday after the bracket has been released. Over-under in this game, 40.5. These teams, of course, played once before in Tuscaloosa, Oklahoma. Won that one, 23-21. It was outgained 406-212. And I came up on the good end of the turnover margin, 3-1. That's why Oklahoma won. Interesting matchup between two teams that both have their struggles in their own ways. Chase, let's start with Alabama. The Crimson Tide did not look good in the SEC title matchup with Alabama. Going to be interested to see how much better Alabama can get with a couple of weeks off. I don't want to sleep on that element, but what do we make of the Crimson Tide, first of all, going into this one in Norman?
Well, I think injuries are something big, and that was the first thing that Kalen DeBoer was asked yesterday when addressing the media on a Zoom call after the playoff committee announced Alabama's selection. And he said, look, Jam Miller is the farthest along of the injured players, which I think is good. Maybe that means that he'll be back for the college football playoff. And Josh Cuevas as well, the tight end, who I think was a big piece missing for Alabama as well. That he's on his way to return. Those are the ones I think that we could expect back for Oklahoma. The other ones I think it'll be tough, but injuries have played a factor for Alabama. Not having a run game 0 period Saturday really hurt the Crimson Tide. And so that's something I'm watching over the next couple of weeks as Alabama gets ready, is who can they get healthy and how much will this break before they play Oklahoma help get some of those guys back, because they need, especially a guy like Jam Miller, back with this team.
Yeah, Oklahoma would like a word here in terms of offensive struggles and running the ball, but like Alabama, the Sooners got here because the defense has been pretty special almost all year. Jay, your thoughts on Oklahoma coming in? What are we watching for here?
Well, I think the starting point for me, of course, if you're talking about Oklahoma, you're going to talk about defense. They're top 10 nationally in almost every defensive metric. But I think they're a different football team to kind of play off of the importance of being healthy. They're a different defense when R. Mason Thomas is on the field. And in November, 3 of their 3 games that Oklahoma allowed the most points, granted one was Tennessee, but in that Tennessee game, R. Mason Thomas got injured. And he's been in and out of the lineup. He only played 9 games this year. I think if he's not a first-round pick, then a handful of NFL GMs need to be fired. I mean, he's a guy who can rush the pocket. He can collapse the pocket from the middle, and he's athletic enough to get to the quarterback from the end. So in a system that Brent Venables loves to run that creates pressure with 4, look, those great Clemson defenses that Venables had were built with future NFL dudes on the defensive line, which allowed you to play 7 in coverage and not lose anything in terms of creating pressure. And this is a terrible matchup. If R. Mason is healthy and Jam Miller's not, this line's going to fluctuate.
Yeah, let's talk about that matchup between Oklahoma's defense and Alabama's offense. I mean, Oklahoma's defense has just been salty all year. 13.9 points a game, 274 yards, 4.2 a play. They don't force a ton of turnovers, although uncharacteristically they did that in the Alabama game, which was uncharacteristic of Alabama to turn it over. So in a way, the first game was such an anomaly in the way it played out for both teams. I don't know what to make of it. On the other hand, Oklahoma does have 40 sacks, and Jay talked about them a bit. I think, I mean, I watch Alabama, Chase, and I keep thinking it can't get worse, right? You've got talented offensive linemen. The Miller and Cuevas injuries have hurt. Watch both those to see if they come back. Here in Ty Simpson hasn't been 100% either. Like he gets better. Like Ty Simpson at one point was playing as well as any quarterback in the league, if not in the country. Yeah. Is Alabama capable of a better performance against an Oklahoma defense that has just overwhelmed most teams that it's played?
Well, they're going to have to be ready to protect Ty Simpson. And if they can't, then it's going to be a long night. That's what, and we've talked about the offensive line for Alabama, just how much of a head scratcher that is the talent that they have up front. But Ty Simpson's not getting much protection at all. He's running for his life. And it's progressively, gotten to the point where it is causing, Ty to be forced into the decisions he's not ready to make. And then you look at the fact that, like Saturday, some drop passes, not good pass protection from the running backs. Balls hitting guys in the hands, chest, dropping them. Like they just seem out of sync, and you can't be out of sync when you're playing a defense like Oklahoma, or it's going to go very poorly.
It's going to go poorly in a couple of directions on exactly what you said. First, Chris, to your stat, Oklahoma's got 40 sacks. And again, they're not an overly blitz-happy team. And 40 sacks with a more traditional approach is even more impressive. And Chase, I know we watched every snap. All of us watched every snap of the Iron Bowl and then the SEC championship game. And the defensive lines, granted, Auburn blitzed way more. And it allowed Ty Simpson to make a couple of lofted, well-placed, critical touchdown passes that were just tremendous throws in the face of pressure. Georgia blitzed way less. And you could see that because you talked rightly about what happened to this Alabama offensive line that we all believed was as good as any in the country before the season. Well, I'll ask the same thing about what happened to this wide receiver room, because other than a blip of an occasional Isaiah Horton appearance, and yes, the Bernard kid's been probably the most consistent. Ryan Williams, man, where the hell are you? And because Georgia, the thing that really jumped off the screen when Alabama had the football and Georgia was on defense was every time, even when they completed a pass, they got no yards after catch. Alabama could not wiggle free and create big plays in space. And if you're really going to go to Norman and think you're going to have success over the long haul with 7, 8, 9, 10 play drives against that defense, you need to go back to the drawing board.
Yeah, I mean, Alabama I'm going to throw this back to you, Chase, and I want to talk about Oklahoma's offense in a minute. It just been an enigma to me at times. I mean, when Alabama was really rolling, what it was doing was controlling time of possession and snaps. Like that's how it beat a ton of teams. That's how it beat Vanderbilt. It's how it beat Missouri. Okay, it outsnaps Vanderbilt by 22, outsnaps Missouri by 21, outsnaps LSU by 4, outsnaps Oklahoma by 24. We know why they lost that one. Outsnaps Eastern Illinois by 40. And then it kind of went backwards against Georgia. I do think that all relates to the running game. But like to Jay's point, there's some untapped stuff here with Jeremy Bernard. You got Isaiah Horton. You got some other good players there too. What has to click for Alabama here, if there's anything we haven't pointed to so far?
Well, I mean, I think, and yeah, we've pointed to a lot, but they've got to be able to make big plays, and they've got to be able to utilize the run game some, have a run game to open up some passes downfield. I don't know if they've just been not on the same page or what, but again, go back to they've just been kind of out of sync. Well, they need to be in sync for a game like this, and they need to utilize Ryan Williams. They need some big plays, but Ty's got to have some time to make some big plays happen. So I think there's a lot of factors there, but that offensive line's a big part of it.
Yeah. Oklahoma has got its own issues on offense, and Alabama lost kind of in the offensive dysfunction is the fact that Alabama's defense has been excellent lately, and it's kind of what has gotten Alabama in this point to where it is in the playoff. Oklahoma, the offense started great, and then the John Mateer hand injury came. We just haven't seen really the same team since. Now, Oklahoma's defense is good enough that you just need a big play or two by Isaiah Sategna or someone like that, which, he kind of won them the LSU game. I think there's also a universe where John Mateer plays better, but he's got a tough matchup here, and Oklahoma has its own issues running the ball from the running back position too, Jay.
They do. And Alabama defensively, unlike the questions around the offense, Alabama's defense is getting close to as healthy as it's been all season. I think that's fair. Don't you, Chase? You've watched this team all season. You've covered them in the state of Alabama. And when your best running back or your best running option is a freshman, which both of these teams may face if Jam Miller's not ready to roll in 10 days, 2 weeks, whatever it is. I think the bigger question is, can Mateer play mistake-free football?
Yeah.
Because he's had a real, think about the LSU game. I mean, they get a turnover. They're inside the red zone. And yes, the LSU DB made an unbelievable play, but he gave a scoring chance away. That's the difference in games like this. You give away a scoring chance. You walk out of the red zone with nothing. And that's the difference between planning for a semifinal and focusing on recruiting. And it's just that simple. And Mateer, look, when we broke down the SEC championship game last week, the three of us, we talked openly about Ty Simpson and Gunnar Stockton are two of the most trustworthy quarterbacks in the league, but I trusted Gunnar Stockton more. I can't say that about John Mateer because he's put the ball in harm's way. I think some of the Oklahoma offensive stagnation is about a schematic change, knowing if we don't give the ball away, they're not going to get to 20.
Yeah.
Because our defense is that salty.
Giving the ball away, though, has been a little bit of an issue at times for Oklahoma. It was in the LSU game, which it won. It was in the Texas game, which it lost. Even early in the season, a little bit against Michigan and Illinois State, a couple of turnovers there. Alabama has been really good at forcing turnovers. I think it's got the top rate in the league in terms of per snap. That's kind of a sneaky storyline to watch here, Chase, is can Alabama, like Bray Hubbard, some of those guys, maybe get you a pick six or something that gets you in plus territory for a chance for a score?
Well, if your offense is struggling, I mean, that's the recipe for any team. Like, let's the defense set you up in good position. And I think Alabama's defense is certainly capable of that, is creating turnovers, getting the ball back, maybe in some short field situations for Alabama's offense to go to work. So I think the defense and creating turnovers, getting those takeaways, it's got to be part of the game plan if you're Alabama.
Yeah. Any other keys to the game here? I know special teams is something I'm watching. Alabama out of punt blocked against Georgia. We know about Tate Sandell. He's maybe the best kicker in the country. That's the thing I'm watching. I'll give you guys each the floor for one other item to discuss before we get to picks, and I'll start with you, Jay.
Okay. Well, I was actually going to mention the kicking discrepancy, because whether he's wearing biker shorts or bikini underwear, Tate is, look, because of my long history of covering college football, the one vote I still have left is for the Goza Award. And I voted for Tate Sandell. So I think he's the best kicker in the country. I think he's the most trustworthy kicker in the country. I think he also, and the reason I voted for him, percentages aside, because you can always lies and statistics, they trust him from distance. When points are going to be scarce. What'd you say the over-under was, 41?
40.5, I believe.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is expected to be a rock fight. And you've got a huge edge from a guy who can dial you up 3 from distance, then that speaks volumes to me. And we're recording this on Monday, December 8th, so we're 11 days from kick. The biggest unknown at this point, this is a whole different game if Jam Miller plays, if Jam Miller doesn't play, and especially if Jam Miller's 100%. Because, Chase, you mentioned the drop balls and the blown pass protections. That was in a 50-50 Atlanta dome. This is going to be 90-10 in Norman, Oklahoma. And if you're leaning on a freshman running back to deal with a Brent Venables defense, it's all going to be on Ty Simpson's shoulders at that point. If no Jam Miller, I don't see a real good path for Alabama.
Yeah. And I think something I'm watching is momentum, like who can get the momentum, because I feel like Georgia got it so fast Saturday that it sucked it right out of Alabama. If Alabama can get some momentum early, because we've seen in games where Alabama wins, they're able to, and especially against Georgia earlier in the season, like they went out, they got a big lead. They had a lot of momentum to start. And even when the team started coming from behind, Alabama was in a good position. They can't go down early in this game if you're Alabama, and Oklahoma needs to get some momentum early too, especially defensively, get some big stops and maybe some short field situations for your offense to go to work. But I think momentum's going to be big.
I think that's a great call, Chase. I think that's a tremendous point. And you're right about how Alabama got kind of shoved behind the snowball that became an avalanche going down the hill. I'll put a tricky one out there for you. Alabama players believe this is their birthright. This is the first time in maybe a decade that Oklahoma's been in something like this. They don't start quickly, and then that fan base gets frustrated. I'm not saying it's going to be irritated or whatever else, but being at home in something like this, 9 times out of 10 is a huge advantage. That one time, if Alabama starts fast, you can hear the silence from a home crowd if you're on the home team. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. I don't know if there's been a better point than Chase bringing up momentum, because both sides are desperate for it. And why wouldn't, if I understand why Alabama wouldn't, but if you don't have Jam Miller, why wouldn't you on the first play go flea flicker, or first series go flea flicker, double pass, something to try to figure out a way to grab that by the throat, that momentum by the throat. I think back to like Kirby going onside kick when they go up 21-10 against Texas, and how that game turned into a blowout, but it was not a blowout until the onside kick. So this is on leadership here. These you've gotten them to the place that everybody dreams about getting to. Now you got to come up with a way to make certain you are ready and you are maximized in that place.
Let's get the picks. Jay, I'll start with you, and we'll hit the total in just a minute, our opinions on that, but we'll do this just the pick separately, and we'll do the total later.
I'm on Oklahoma every way I can be. I think they're going to have as many players drafted as Alabama does, which is always a compliment. I think Arbuckle and Mateer have got to be able to limit risk plays, but I also think if there is a way to get to Alabama, and this is not just a current Alabama, this is a decade-old story, look for John Mateer to run for 70. And I think Oklahoma finds a way. And is it different if Jam Miller plays? Maybe. Well, if Jam Miller's 100%, we may have to revisit this. We may have to do an immediate one like next Thursday if he's been cleared and given the green light. But right now on December 8th, I've already invested, and maybe you don't. Maybe you don't do this until you hear more about Jam Miller. But with this line and this number, I am 100% Oklahoma on this pick.
I think Alabama has something to prove. I think, and we talk about trust, and while you can't really put all your eggs in the basket of either one of these quarterbacks, I feel like I do trust Alabama's offense more. I do take the Crimson Tide winning another close one between these two.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like the wrong team is favored here. Just Alabama's looked so poor on offense last time out. It kind of leaves an impression. But I want to point this out. Alabama has been with its back against the wall pretty much from game one when it lost at Florida State. Since then, Alabama's been really good on the road, guys. Won 24-21 at Georgia, 27-24 at Missouri, 29-22 on a day that it got a good South Carolina team. It won at Auburn in the Iron Bowl, a game it had to win. I just get the feeling that getting Ty Simpson a couple weeks to get better. I think Jam Miller's going to play, from talking to someone in the media this morning who covers that team. Maybe you get Cuevas back too. That helps if you do, but you've been playing without him. And by the way, Kalen DeBoer is a battle that he's been is coaching this spot before at Washington. So I do wonder sometimes, like, with all the pressure in Tuscaloosa, just getting away from that place and going somewhere else, and this being a team that's handled this business on the road. It doesn't feel in a lot of ways like a game Oklahoma's going to win, but I think maybe 2 weeks is going to make, or like Alabama's going to win, but I think maybe 2 weeks makes a difference. I'm going with Chase on this one and taking Alabama. Didn't really know I was going to do that till we talked through it. But that's kind of where I am. Kicking game does make me nervous, though. Before we get to the over-under part of it, reminder, we are brought to you by friends at Yearly Company, a Nashville-based fine jewelry brand built on tradition, designed for meaning, each piece handcrafted from solid 14-karat gold and natural gemstones, made to order for a perfect fit or made to measure for a perfect fit, backed by a lifetime guarantee. Every Yearly Company bangle is custom sized, so knowing your size is the most important first step before you order. That's where the sizing kit comes in. Code SE16KIT. Get you 100% off the sizing kit at checkout. We are also brought to you by Rockform, the world's strongest magnetic phone case, extreme protection, super strong magnets, rock lock secure mounting. I've got the case and the vent clip for my car. You get that for yourself, and you can thank me for that one later. SEC25, get you 25% off at Rockform, ROKFORM.com. Over under on this, I think we said it was, 40.5 per our friends at FanDuel. Jay Greason, what are you taking here and why?
Without knowing what the weather will be, I mean, it's Norman. It's going to be windy and cold. I mean, I think I read somewhere that it's Oklahoma, where the wind blows dusty down the plains. I mean, I may have heard that somewhere. I don't know. Could have been a Broadway show. But this is a line where Vegas is daring you to take the over. Daring you. I mean, flat out, this is like an NFC over-under. NFC East over-under. This is not a college football over-under in the days of they were closer to 50 than they were to 30. So I don't like it. I will bet it in-game. I don't like it either way, because if it'd been 42.5, I'd have been all on the under. But at 40.5, it's almost too low that I got to buy the value in going over. And I don't think necessarily that's how the game's going to play out. But sometimes pickers pick on where there's value. Because we talked about trying trick plays, special teams, difference-making scores, defenses, and fourth downs. And so I'm going over as we sit here, and I would probably even bet this now as opposed to the line, because, Chris, if you think Jam Miller's going to play, that's going to affect not only the line, it's going to affect the total.
Yeah.
Right now, under the circumstances, we don't know if Jam Miller's going to play. I'm going under. I think it's going to be pretty low scoring, like a 16-13, 17-10 type of game.
Jay, I'm glad you mentioned the weather. I hadn't even thought of that. I'm getting visions of like the Bears and the Packers in the 50 on the frozen tundra. That may be what we get in Oklahoma. You could play this game in Miami right now, and I think I'd still take the under based on these defenses and the issues for the offense. Throw in the weather. That's where I'm going. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave us a thumbs up. We cover baseball, football, and basketball here at the channel year-round. God bless you. Thanks for watching. For Jay Greason and Chase Robinson, I'm Chris Lee. This is Southeastern 16, presented by FanDuel.